Deal, 3 minutes till talent. Okay, Neil, check that after national anthem.
I went over it, I was like,
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to San Antonio, Texas, the Weaving Sports Complex. Cell phone, please remember our national anthem.
thank you, Neil Seeker.
During the U.S. Army All-American Bowl Week, we pay our respects to our considered property, the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, and to all the men and women outstanding in the
Reno meets Iowa.
We thank you for your service. Let's give them a round of applause. We now ask for our team captains to the midfield for the coin toss.
We have returned. 7. Stadium, San Antonio, Texas, 4 miles east of the Alamo Dome, where the goal is to play there Sunday against Iowa. This is the 7th grade national semifinal. Hi everyone, Neil Sika, Randy Rosenblum here to have some fun. The coin toss as South Florida in purple, Indiana in red. As you can see, South Florida, they have won the toss and elected to defer, so Indiana and that wishbone offense we will see first, coached by Will Rutherford. They had very successful teams at all 3 grade levels, Randy Rosenblum, but it's the 7th graders who made it out of the snow and ice of Arlen Field in Mansfield, Ohio, beating a very talented Maryland team, getting by South Connecticut, now having to deal with the speed, maybe the fastest team in all 3 grades in South Florida.
Well, historically, South Florida has great athletes, so that's not surprising that they have so much speed. But it'll be interesting to see how they handle this wishbone alignment. It's a throwback. It's Texas in the 1960s in college football, and it's built on deception. So deception can sometimes myth speed in athletes. So you got to be in your assignments. You got to play smart football. And if South Florida can do that, they can have success. On the other hand, there's no question that Indiana, if they can be disciplined and run that wishbone attack, they have a shot here today in our national semifinal.
So it's Indiana to receive. Larry Tracy III out of Indianapolis steps onto the field for Will Rutherford and his team. South Florida coached by Troy Hughes. They were national semifinalists at 7th grade last year. They lost to Maryland. They were the defending champs at that level. Those 7th graders have moved on to 8th grade, where they will play later on tonight. And Wyatt Blades is also deep for the kicking game of Billy McConnell from Plantation, Florida. And a very lively leg.
Yeah, they really like him. From 35 and in, I think he's capable of knocking in field goals.
So it's all hands on deck for this 2nd 7th grade national semifinal. And it's Wyatt Blades. A nice return across the 41. And here comes the Indiana offense. Wouldn't be as successful as it is without the leadership of Jack Kaiser. He's got Jared Martin, DJ Bowles, who's a phenomenal 2-way player, Samuel Jones, Dalton Davis, and Addison Batten up front. Colin Garner does a lot of blocking, but he's still a pretty good receiver. It's Tracy, the aforementioned return man, and Donovan Wright, who make the backfield special. 1st and 10 at the 40. And on the first play of the game, the strength of this team, the offensive line, it's tough running up front as they look to Eddie Jenick. He's the fullback.
In the wishbone, if you can slow down the dive, and that's exactly the play that Indiana utilized, you can stop the wishbone. And on that first play, South Florida got the better of it by stopping the dive.
A 44 defense for the team in purple. Sensational South Florida. They went over 2+ games without allowing a point since their opener. And in the backfield, down goes Wright. There's speed all over there. Naquan Wright, we're going to call his name a lot, mostly on the offensive side of the ball. But the secondary is stocked, and so is the front line in this 44 defense.
What a play by James Cook. He came up and ran a run. Outstanding, aggressive player with great speed.
His brother, the outstanding high school running back, Delvin Cook. 3rd and long. This isn't a pass-first offense, so we'll see what 3rd and 11 brings. A sack. That's right. Who read the play beautifully.
Very athletic player. He's a great running back. Pretty good on defense, as you just witnessed. And that's a terrific start for South Florida defensively. And again, if you're Indiana, you cannot play behind the chains like that. And it all started when they stopped the dive play when Jenick carried on 1st down.
Well, the team in red will punt. Actually, they'll scratch it. They'll play and throw, and it's nearly picked. Clarence Burley almost had the interception. They gave the look of maybe sending out the punting unit, but put it in the air for the first time when they turn it over on downs.
Yeah, Indiana's fortunate that wasn't returned for a touchdown, but it's 4 and out, and South Florida takes over in terrific field position. And they got to feel pretty good about the way this game has started.
So here comes the offense. They've got Nick Scalzo, the quarterback, and he is a good one.
Great football IQ. That's the book on Scalzo. He always makes the right play.
Take your pick of the stud horses in the backfield who are also very good receivers. They motion right. He's earned a lot of comparisons to Sony Michel, who was an East Bay Youth All-American, now playing in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl tomorrow. And they try to swing it out to him with the pass off line.
Well, if he's anything like Sony Michel, we're in for a special day. Michel's not only in the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, but he's a running back that rushed for nearly 2,000 yards in his senior year in high school.
You already mentioned James Cook. He's lined to the slot on the near side of your screen. Wide is Benestad, his right motions. Scalzo throws. Off the fake and the long pass. Benestad's got it to the 5 and wrestled down to the 1. 33 yards, 1st and goal, South Florida.
Benestad's a great route runner, but he showed some pretty good speed getting behind the defense. And Scalzo hangs this up beautifully. You can't throw it any better than this, right on the numbers. And it's 1st and goal for South Florida.
Torres, Fontana, Shear, Bonowitz, and Zelch, the linemen that lead the way for the South Floridians. And then shotgun on 1st and goal. That man who just caught the pass is the far side slot. That's Benestad. This time they go and find Cook for the touchdown. Precision in 3 plays, and South Florida in the end zone.
Good play too by Scalzo. He's going to have the defender in his face right there. Dalton Davis looked like he was going to block that pass, but somehow Scalzo was able to find his elusive target and throw it for a touchdown. That's a terrific play by the quarterback in the face of a furious rush.
And so McConnell on for the extra point. 2 minutes and 44 seconds into this opening quarter. South Florida 7, Indiana nothing.
You're seeing early why South Florida has the pedigree of a potential national champion, and while everybody loves them in this 7th grade division. Defensively, they come out, make a statement, slow down the wishbone, get the ball offensively, go straight down the field, and you had to love the field generalship of Scalzo, the quarterback, making plays for the offense of South Florida.
So Indiana will look to respond. Larry Tracy back deep, along with Wyatt Blades. It did not take long after the turnover on downs. A short 3 plays for South Florida, who got here on the strength of wins over Central Florida 41-6, then pitched 2 shutouts over Southwest Florida and South Charlotte, going over 40 points each time. Running clocks in those games, and then a very good 7th grade GFL team They beat them handily 35-6. It's squibbed, and it's Larry Tracy to the 35, and that's where the second offensive possession for Indiana begins.
Yeah, you bring up a valid point, Neil, the fact that every game of the playoffs, South Florida has ended up winning with a running clock. After the 23-point margin, we go to a running clock, and South Florida hasn't been challenged. And to that point, Indiana has to believe if they can make it a four-quarter game, if they can keep it close, perhaps that'll be to their advantage, because South Florida's had blowouts in each and every game they've played in the tournament.
Well, they stuff 8 in the box, South Florida, on this first down. And a positive gain of 4 yards right there for Larry Tracy out of Indianapolis. He's one of their big play guys.
Yeah, he is a weapon. He's a guy that plays with a swagger. And you're right about South Florida. They're not respecting the pass. They're just going to put all those guys up in the box. And you mentioned that there was 8 in the box, daring this football team, led by Jack Kaiser at quarterback, to throw the football from Indiana.
And they even creep the one defensive back, Billy Alcius, up as they give straight ahead. Maybe a couple. The key is that offensive line. There was a lot of talk. Is South Florida too small up front? But they're quicker, so how will they handle? This is the most intriguing matchup. Gain of 2, it'll be 3rd and short.
Well, they get off the ball so fast, and so far they've been beating Indiana at the point of attack with that speed and getting off the ball, and there's been no room to run for any of the backs for Indiana.
Bonowitz leads a pretty good front four as Carter. Rush end out of this 3-5 look on the toss. They lose 4. Back to the 38. And South Florida has smothered this Indiana offensive start.
Yeah, Larry Tracy didn't have a chance, and when they try to run wide, the plays take longer to develop. The speed of South Florida really comes into play.
Well, Anthony Solomon, the latest to get in on the action. Very aggressive defensive lineman. Brings up a 4th and 8. Kaiser off play action. Throws it up, it's intercepted. At the 34, it's picked off. Daniel Carter has the INT, and South Florida has the football back.
That was great coverage by Carter. I mean, he had the receiver blanketed. He was inside of the receiver. It wouldn't have mattered had he caught it or not. The ball would have gone over on downs, but you really love the fact that he played the ball, made the play, and gives his team another shot. So far, 2 possessions for Indiana. They just have not been able to move the ball on the ground, and they tried to open it up in the air, and that was not working for them as well.
So it's Scalzo. Very cool in those first 3 plays that led to the score, and now Wright cutting it back as they sent him in motion.
A little misdirection. That's more out of the playbook of Indiana, used by South Florida. Good effort there. Quick hitter with the misdirection and netted a positive play.
Gain of 6. 2nd and 4, inside of the first 5 minutes of this opening quarter. Scalzo on a rope out, and a wide receiver bubble hit to Lorenzo Floyd.
That's just getting Floyd out in space. And the key to that play is how quickly Scalzo was able to get it to Floyd in the flat, and then Floyd utilized his speed to pick up the necessary yardage.
7 more and a first down. Floyd has a fantastic arm. He's the backup quarterback. Essentially the dual threat. Another quick drop. This time they come near side. Benestad scored in 3 of the 4 games in this tournament run, and he's into Indiana territory to the 49.
Same play to the other side, and I love the play calling. South Florida has really opened it up early in this game.
Stephen Herron making the tackle for Indiana. He, along with Bowles, Davis, and Walker, the front of this 4-3. Tracy, Jenick, and Keene, the linebackers. Blades and Wright, the corners. Martin, the safety. Straight ahead. On the give, it's Wright. He's got a healthy 5 more. He's near the marker at the 44. They'll spot him just shy.
Right, one of the best running backs in South Florida. Again, you throw 2 passes wide to each side, then you hit him right up in the middle in the belly. Diversification in the play calling for Team South Florida.
Head coach Troy Hughes, his offensive staff, in a fine rhythm to begin this one. Opening quarter, 7-0. The team based out of Miami, mostly Dade County. And here's Wright, showing why he's so good. Just running around people as he's to the 31.
Just tripped up or he would have scored. And again, in the open field, Wright is the right choice. He is spectacular. 14
more and a first down. So we go inside of 3 minutes. A 7-0 lead for the team in purple. Cook in the slot, Benestad wide to the near side. Instead, back to the far for the man who just carried it. It's Wright this time as a receiver. What makes him one of the more elusive players, the ability to catch the ball like he does. All these running backs, assuming they pan out, they could be running backs, they could be receivers as they get bigger.
Yeah, as you're younger, you play a lot of different positions to get skilled in each position because you're so athletic and you don't know where you're really going to end up. But what I like here is, because of the balance of South Florida, they have Indiana's defense off balance. They don't know if it's going to be a run or a pass. Great mixture of play for Team Florida in regards to what they're running.
It is 2nd and 3, and this time Scalzo will keep. He's a deceptive runner, and he's not afraid to get in on the hit. And he's tackled by Blades, so the ball pop out there. They'll say he was down.
But another wrinkle, run the quarterback, Scalzo. You talked about it. He can carry the football. A little bit of a fake in the backfield. Didn't hand it off and just took it upfield. Got enough for the first down. Again, you can see the ball pop out. He was certainly down. Everything seems to be working fluidly for Team South Florida.
The winner has a date with Iowa on Sunday evening in the Alamo Dome. 7th grade FBU National Championship. In its 2nd year, and there will be a new champion. South Florida, the only team at the 7th grade level to get back here. It's that pass right off the chest to James Cook.
Yeah, another perfectly thrown ball. You know, James Cook might be beating himself up about that, but he's a really good receiver, and that's just one that got away, and he'll overcome that and come back and probably do a lot of damage today. But what a wonderful throw again by Scalzo. That one was right on target.
2nd and 10 upcoming at the 21. So many weapons. Floyd, Cook. He doesn't know where he's supposed to align right now. Actually, I think he's got a helmet problem, so he's going to have to come off for a play. Actually, the jersey. Either way, paraphernalia. Minute 18 remaining in the quarter. Scalzo to throw it. Scalzo to go down. He's sacked. And for the first time today, the Indiana defense brings the pressure and do so with aplomb. Keontae Glover got him.
Also, Stephen Herron there. Again, that's the great equalizer when you're going up against a passer like Scalzo. Pressure from the middle. Quarterback's nightmare when it comes from the middle side.
Cook is back on. It's 3rd and long. 3rd and 19 at the 30. On their 2nd possession. They'll hand this off. And Daniel Carter, another member of that wealth of running backs going forward. Conservative call there. It's 4th and 10.
They just wanted to pop him through on the draw. Didn't quite do it. Got some positive yards back, and they're a little bit more manageable here on 4th down.
Do have a long-legged kicker in McConnell, but they'll play here. Would be a 37-yard field goal. On 4th and 11, they'll roll out Scalzo. He can't elude the big end rush of Dalton Davis.
Dalton Davis is a load. He nearly got to Scalzo earlier in the quarter. He ends this first quarter with the sack. What a tremendous rush from Dalton Davis, who's a terrific two-way performer for Indiana.
It leaves 3 seconds remaining here in the first, but the Indiana defense stiffens just as South Florida was creeping closer for more.
And it was much needed. You don't want to fall behind 2 touchdowns at a national semifinal like this against the potency and the talent of South Florida. So that was something that the Indiana faithful were thrilled to see on the far side when their fans came to their feet after the brilliant play by Davis.
So Kaiser, let's see what this offense can do. Not much. The surge has been too strong for the South Florida defense. That's Cook again with another outstanding play, and that's the quarter. South Florida 7, Indiana nothing. Second, 7th grade national semifinal. And before we step out, we'll check in for the first time in this semifinal with Tyler Olson.
Thanks, guys. And we take a look after the end of the first quarter, a 7-0 lead for South Florida. This is a very interesting matchup. South Florida obviously coming from a talent-rich state of Florida. Indiana, a surprise team, as I'm sure you guys have mentioned throughout the broadcast. We are going to be keeping a close eye on this one, the final 7th grade game. Still 2 more to go today. See how this one plays out. Back up to you.
Nothing the score. South Florida leads Indiana here after 1, and a big stop for that Indiana defense. But now, what can they do against this South Florida D, which has suddenly sprung to life?
Yeah, and it gets increasingly more difficult on a defense for Indiana, and it'll look terrific there. And I love what I've seen from Dalton Davis of Indiana. But if they can't get first downs on offense, if the Indiana defense has to continually come out and try to slow down South Florida, they won't be able to do it throughout the day and into the evening. So at some point, Indiana has to get first downs to try to rest the offense, and obviously they need to score because South Florida's too good a football team. You know they're going to score more. Although teams have not been able to score on South Florida. Again, they've only given up a couple of scores in the entire tournament. They have been terrific, and they've dominated everyone. And off of what we've seen here through 10 minutes, you can see why.
Well, the teams switch ends. Sun has persisted throughout the day. A little chilly to start, but...
Little chilly? I'm from Southern California. This is a lot chilly by my standards.
But by comparison to last year, I'd say you're a lot more inclined to the weather.
You thawed quicker this year than last year.
So Indiana, 2nd and long upcoming. 2nd and 14. Their offense has been going in reverse much of the way of the front 7 of South Florida to start this game. Off the misdirection. They bring Larry Tracy forward as they pull some guards. A smidgen, maybe 2. There's just so many bodies that fly to the ball. Solomon's there, Cook.
It's got to start with first downs. Indiana, it's great to think about a big play and getting a touchdown and maybe tying the game with one big hit, but they got to get some first downs and really get the offense in sync. And they have not been able to get anything against South Florida.
Samuel Jones, the center, brings him to the line, and Kaiser to throw, and 3 purple shirts in the area. He was trying to pick out Larry Tracy. There is a flag, and we'll check it.
Might have been a late hit as they got to the quarterback, and for Indiana's sake, they're probably hoping it's a late hit, and I think they got there tardy, and that is a first down.
Well, they roughed the passer. And they need anything to kickstart their offense. So they'll take the new set of downs, and this will bring it out to the 44. Indiana, new to the FBU National Championship this year. They beat North Wisconsin in the first round, 19-0. Gliding past Illinois, 38-6. The big surprise, and when many started to pay attention was their 29-0 shutout over Maryland in the regional semifinal in Mansfield. Lousy weather that weekend, as was the case for much of the 3 weekends of the national championship. Under a blitz, I don't know, Kaiser picked that off his shoe tops and somehow was able to come away and gain positive yards to the 49.
He didn't panic, and he should get out of the pocket. Hopefully he's okay as he hobbles off, but Kaiser made a ridiculously good play to get out of harm's way.
Kaiser has a better arm than people give him credit for, but this is an offense where you need, as a quarterback, to be selfless. And he's done just that, manages the game.
He's going to come back on, hobbled, and you love that, showing the heart, the character to come back, even though you may not be 100%. Your teammates will embrace the fact that he's out there not at 100%.
90 seconds into the second quarter. They send Colin Gardner in motion, but then go straight ahead after that read, and they pick up a first down. Their first of the game.
And Eddie Jenick, and there is the dive, and they didn't have success with that in the first quarter. And if they can establish Jenick inside, then that'll open it up a little bit more for Indiana. That's a really good sign for Team Indiana.
Gardner in motion again. Kaiser in shotgun. 1st and 10 at the 45, and they moved. And that'll back up the red and white 5 yards. Indiana.
You know, it's remarkable, Neil, how well they do execute. As the flag comes down here, and it just brings to the point that they haven't had many flags, and they haven't had that many practices to run this kind of elaborate offense. I mean, a wishbone takes a lot of time to develop. You have to be all synced up. You got to be coordinated. But to that point, Indiana runs it very well.
Another low snap. Ball is on the ground and picked up by South Florida. Cook's got it. The real question, were they whistling him down?
That's what the officials are conferring about. It's an interesting call. It certainly appeared that South Florida recovered the football, but I think he was ruled down before the ball was recovered.
And quite frankly, it's the wrong call.
They're ruling it an incomplete pass on the field, so they're saying he threw the football rather than fumbled the football, and that's why it's not a turnover.
That would certainly clarify things, but to these eyes, it looked like a fumble. So Indiana perhaps catching a break here, and now they don't even start on this play because they weren't aware of the cadence. And the throw is offline, so a little discombobulated on these last couple of plays. And it brings up 3rd and long.
Tremendous rush from the outside from James Cook. Indiana quarterback is lucky he wasn't beheaded there. Got to block better than that. Nobody laid a glove on Cook as he came in.
In motion. Gardner. That look on 4 plays on this drive, and they look to throw it to him this time, and it's out of his range. He had Wright in coverage along with Nico Sheasley.
Yeah, again, it was Cook, Neil. They put the heat on and forced that ball to come out early and come out too far. And that may just stall this drive, although you never know in youth football. Even though it's 4th and 15, we've seen teams go for it from the spot on the field.
Well, Indiana still has achieved their first down. They've got it at midfield, 4th and 15.
That guy, 23, has been all over the football field, and they'll move him from side to side where he feels more comfortable to where he can get a rush on the quarterback.
Indiana wants to get the ball to their 23, Donovan Wright, who has not had his hands on the pigskin yet. We've got a pre-snap whistle, and this is going against South Florida. Our referee here for this semifinal number 2 in 7th grade is David Angleton.
That time Cook came in early and was guilty of the offside, but he's not getting blocked. And Indiana needs to be aware where number 23 is on defense.
So it makes it 4th and 10. Kaiser in the gun. Rushed out, wild and wobbly pass, intercepted. Essentially acting as a punt, Wright got it. A late flag now comes in. And the ball at the 31. He'll check the hanky.
Again, it was Cook in the face of the quarterback of Indiana, and he just threw it up there for grabs, knowing it was on 4th down. But unless they get a handle on Cook, it's going to be a long afternoon for the Indiana offense trying to throw the football. Now, the good news is this foul is after the fact, and it'll move South Florida back. It's good news for Indiana. So you're right about the fact that it serves as a punt. Now, certainly even a better punt when you lose the yardage. It was a 4th down play anyway. So it does back up South Florida. But the simple fact is Indiana needs to block Cook.
Now that's a problem all around the board. You've got the big lineman, you've got the speed of South Florida, and that's the advantage they have right now. Those edge rushers, that quickness is getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, in youth football, you see stars develop. 3 or 4 guys completely control the game, and we're seeing that early from Cook. He's been a star so far for South Florida.
So is Wright. They play for the same youth team. That pass out to the far side is Benestad on the slant, has about 6.
Simple construction of the play, but excellent execution again from South Florida. Just the slant as you so called. And again, the work of Scalzo. He's been very, very sharp in this opening half.
Three and a half into the second, and we've got movement. That'll be a false start on South Florida.
Indiana's hanging in, but this is a very impressive team from South Florida. So much speed, a lot of talent, and a quarterback who knows how to engineer drives.
You're also a fan of the purple.
Well, the Purple Gang. You grow up with the Minnesota Vikings in your youth, and you see the great Viking teams, and you heard the Purple Gang for so many years. And this has been the Purple Gang, but it's the Purple Gang of South Florida.
Indiana will give it right back. They move on the defensive front. Stephen Herron from New Albany, Indiana, jumps.
Just a loss of concentration, and he's trying to get a head start, Stephen Herron. He's a good defensive lineman, but that time he came across early.
Four minutes gone here in the second. South Florida leading 7-0. Under duress, Scalzo's pass was partially deflected. Could have been disastrous, but Aiken to falling right in the hands of Naquan Wright.
Yeah, someone might have touched it, but it landed perfectly in between 2 defenders to Wright's hands. Another sharply thrown football in terms of its accuracy from Nick Scalzo.
In the gun with 4 receivers. As Wright motions, they give to Carter. Did he put it on the ground?
Turnover.
Yes. Indiana's football off the fumble.
Well, that, of course, is another great equalizer. If the Indiana defense can force turnovers, that's what they need to do against the superior athletic ability of Team Florida. Make plays, force mistakes, keep it close. That's the game mantra for Indiana. And now they have field position against this vaunted defense of South Florida. But can they move the football? That's the question.
South Florida will call timeout here. Leading 7-0, but this Indiana team very stingy right now. They have it back after the fumble with good field position.
Well, you really can't fault their defense. And their offense is just running up a team from South Florida that's got a great defense. And so question becomes, after witnessing much of this first half, is can Indiana move the football against that tremendous D of the Purple Gang?
South Florida 7, Indiana nothing. And it's the second semifinal in the 7th grade. Neil and Randy with you at Wheatley Stadium. Our great crew. Game 4 of 6 on the day.
A lot of running plays in this one, Neil, and it's gone fast. It's been a rapidly moving, rapidly developing first half. Did you expect more offense than this?
Well, I think from a standpoint of what South Florida is capable of, yes. But Indiana hasn't been able to get the surge with that offensive line, even in their running game. Kaiser in the gun. As they motion Blades, they fake to him. He'll go for about 3.
At least by throwing the football, even though they weren't effective in the last series of downs, the defense is now aware of that, and they weren't able to load up the box, and thus Kaiser was able to call his own number and run up the field in the middle of the field and pick up some good yardage, you know, positive gain on first down. Now they're not behind the chains, and that opens up the playbook a little bit more for Maryland, for Indiana.
We got 5 on the play clock here. Blades in motion. Kaiser will give it to him, and that's not fooling the man coming through the middle. Mason Bonowitz from Cooper City.
What a play by Bonowitz. He knifed through, and he was blocked, but he fought off the block to make the play, and you love that. You know, not being denied. Being a tough guy on defense, and you need toughness, and that's exactly what Bonowitz displayed.
And they had 4 minutes on this play. 3rd and 12. Kaiser with the pressure, throws low, incomplete. For the first time today, looking to put it in the hands of Donovan Wright, but the coverage was excellent.
And again, it's not Indiana's game to be at 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 11. They need to have it at 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, where they can throw that wishbone running game at you for 4 consecutive downs. Now on 4th down and 11, gets very difficult to get the first down. And if they don't move the chains here, Florida takes over in great field position.
On 4th down, that's incomplete. Looking again on the same path for Wright, but it was low, and the coverage by Sheasley was great.
And again, pressures, so Kaiser had to unload quickly. Everything has to be thrown fast by Indiana, and it's just not easy to be on the same page when you don't have a lot of time to coordinate. Here's a problem, because you give up the football to South Florida, still has better than 4 minutes to play in the half, and now you got to hunker down on defense. You played strong football for much of this first half if you're Indiana defensively, but still there's a lot of pressure on you because the offense isn't scoring and is not staying on the field.
Scalzo, so often as they do, send Wright in motion, toss to Carter. Carter to the edge, made a man miss before Wright brings him down. And he's a little slow to get up after the 4-yard gain by Carter.
Yeah, he's fun to watch too. There's so many talented running backs on South Florida, and Carter's a guy who can shake and bake and go the distance.
Scalzo taking his time on 2nd and 7. Another penalty.
Yeah, it took too long to develop. A lot of the players on the perimeter were talking with one another. They just did not signal that play in fast enough. And you'll see that in these youth football games because, again, they just don't have enough time to practice. And you can see the quarterback, Nick Scalzo, coming to the sideline saying, hey, you got to get me the play a little bit earlier than that so I can get get us huddled up and get us out there to play.
You bring up an excellent point. I mean, along the journey, maybe getting to practice once, twice a week if you advance. The most they get to see of each other on a consistent basis is here when they get to San Antonio. And there's so much great stuff based around the national championship, the U.S. Army All-American Bowl, everything going on down here, that it's tough as a youngster to hone in on all that.
It's tough for anyone when they travel. There's so many things, outside distractions when you come to a national championship tournament like this in the semifinals. And by the way, it gives us a little bit of time with the time I think we're talking about FBU and how they've counseled most of these players, and they've gone to those camps, and how good they are because they have gone and been instructed by the best group of instructors in youth football, getting the NFL type of instruction from our camps at FBU.
2nd down and 7 with 3:15 remaining in the half. Scalzo to put it up. That pocket wasn't lasting long in the pass. Because of it, was thrown behind, incomplete.
Yeah, you're right, Neil. He's just a little bit behind the intended receiver, Clarence Burley, who's an outstanding athlete, can play anywhere on the field. Had that ball been thrown in front of him, it would have been a big play for South Florida.
Benestad and Cook off on the far side of your screen. Get a look in the backfield with Carter. There was Scalzo. Looked like a design run all the way, but Indiana game for it. Dalton Davis. We're calling that name a lot. He's their best two-way lineman. He runs down Scalzo on 3rd down. It's 4th and short.
Yeah, Dalton Davis is as good as anybody out on the field. I mean, he's great against the pass. He gives you a big-time pass rush. And you saw him run down the quarterback of South Florida. This is the biggest play of the opening half. If South Florida can convert here, they have a chance to open up a 2-touchdown margin. If Indiana can get the turnover on downs, they take over in field position outside their 40-yard line perhaps, and give their offense an opportunity to tie it before intermission.
Play action. Scalzo throws it away. The pressure was there from Herron. The coverage was better, and the pass was nowhere close. Indiana takes over on downs.
And all the credit to the Indiana defense. You mentioned the pressure from Herron, and it was there, but to a young man, they played really well there. That was a point in the quarter and in the game where it could have gone south on them. And they didn't let it go south on them. They hunkered down defensively, got the stop, and they give their offense still another chance, this time late in the 2nd quarter.
Really couldn't have started any worse for Indiana. Stalling on offense. South Florida scoring in 3 plays. But the D has come to play. Now they need their offense to get it in gear. And a nice play out of the spin and the break of a tackle as Larry Tracy has a 1st down into South Florida territory.
And I like the fact that they went underneath rather than trying to go and stretch the field with the longer passes. Get some safe throws there. Get it to guys who could make people miss, like a Larry Tracy, and that's exactly what happened.
2nd 1st down for Indiana as they take it to the South Florida 46. Inside of 2 minutes and a half. Bowles and Oaks on the near side. Gardner in motion. There's pressure on Kaiser. Can he elude it? He'll do his best. And essentially a miracle that he got a yard out of that, because Cook and Wright were coming after him.
Well, it's James Cook, and he is a one-man wrecking crew defensively for South Florida. Indiana's going to call a timeout. I've mentioned it throughout the half. You got to get at least 2 on him. One's not going to get it done. He's just too quick off the ball and he'll blow by you. So you got to send another lineman or extra blocking back to come over and try to chip him, because one guy is not going to block James Cook.
Well, the fans and their rhythmic clap of Indiana, they They know it's a fine line right now with the way the offense is trying to get going. They just need that one big play. They finally saw some elusiveness from Tracy. The key is, can they find their top athlete, Donovan Wright? And that has been a resounding no so far, and much of that due to the South Florida pressure and secondary coverage.
Well, again, it's no accident why these teams are here. You get to the national semifinals, it's because of great defense. We'd like to talk about offense, and both these teams have displayed outstanding Ds.
2nd and 10, the throw to Wright. Well, the closest of the three, but Sheasley is acting as his shadow here in the first half.
Again, when they've tried to go down the field because the play takes so time to develop, quarterback Kaiser doesn't have enough time really to set his feet and throw the football accurately. And when we went underneath to Larry Tracy, it was much easier because it was a shorter pattern and the ball came out of there accurately. Again, I think that's your direction. Throw it short. You don't have to always throw it down the field.
Here's Kaiser trying to throw down the field, and that's why it can be a problem. Not against this secondary. It's picked off by Benestad. He'll take it to the 36, and that's where the purple and white will start on offense with 1:15 remaining in the half and a timeout left.
Yeah, sometimes in this era, Neil, we see teams with high-scoring games, and we talk about how great the offenses are. Well, today we're seeing great defensive teams and defenses that are slowing down good offenses. Now here's a point again where Maryland has to make a stop. They can ill afford to let South Florida score late in the half.
This time they bring Carter out to the slot, and they give it away to Wright. And Wright may go all the way. Naquan Wright to the house. Touchdown, South Florida.
The ability to hit you with a big play. Naquan Wright, and great blocking on the right side of the line. Nice crease for him to run through. And boy, once he got into the open space, when he had Green in front of him, nobody was going to catch Naquan Wright. And that's what Maryland had to guard against, because it's going to get very difficult against that stinky defense, now down 2 touchdowns.
Well, the storyline is looking the same. Benestad making a big play on defense, Wright doing it offensively. And away he goes for a 64-yard touchdown run. McConnell for the extra point. No, wide to the left. So it is 13-0 South Florida, but they extend the lead here at the tail end of the half.
Yeah, the explosiveness of South Florida exhibited this time offensively in their first big play, the big chunk play offensively for this highly regarded team.
Well, we have our matchup in the 6th grade national championship. That is coming your way Sunday morning on ESPN3. A series of games that feature FBU's finest, the East Bay Youth All-Americans, starting tomorrow night at 8:30. The USA East Classic as they take on the USA West. And then 5 games for your enjoyment throughout the day. The 6th grade championship gets us started. North Texas steamrolling Oregon on their way to the championship game, where they will meet Georgia, who won a back-and-forth affair with Maryland. Iowa awaits the winner. Will it be a Midwest clash? Indiana, though, has some work to do. Right now, it's the sunshine of South Florida prevailing. 13-0. Inside of a minute in this half, as Blades takes the kickoff. He's down at the 29.
Alcia is showing tremendous speed on the specialty unit getting down there. There's just speed everywhere for Florida. You know, they offense, defense, specialty teams, and there's that old slogan, speed never has a slump. And you're seeing the speed at its finest today with South Florida.
Talking with Troy Hughes and their team director, Tyrone Parker, there was a mental toughness, too, that needed to be established with this group. They were impressive last year getting to San Antonio, and then did not fare well when they dealt with some adversity from Maryland, bowed out in that round.
And there's something to be said, too, about experience. You learn from your previous experiences. You learn from your losses. You grow. And for the loss, they're a better football team this time around.
Kaiser to the 35 as we're hitting the middle portion of the evening here on game 4 of the day.
You're just getting started, Mr. Seeker. You know this is going to be a long and enjoyable ride into the night.
I couldn't do it with the help of you and, of course, your great work and the great support staff around us here in San Antonio, making these games go. 13-0 and a timeout as Indiana with 38 seconds and 1 timeout remaining in their bank. You were talking about the underneath stuff, a short passing game that might have a benefit. We saw what it did when they found Tracy. We've seen what they've done when they've went long. Donovan Wright has been a non-factor. Maybe try to incorporate him in a bubble screen or something, at least get him the ball.
I think so. And again, everything has to be fast because you don't have time. On that last play, Cook just ran by the quarterback or he would have had another sack.
Kaiser. Right. Nothing has gone wrong for number 21 in purple in the first half. Well, the sack there.
That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant from 21, Naquan Wright. We've seen him on offense. That time he came through the middle, split 2 blocks, and still got to the quarterback easily.
And that most assuredly will bring the half to a conclusion, where Indiana's defense, well, it was 3rd and long, and it appeared they were content with letting it play out. But a timeout was called with a second remaining. And Indiana's defense has made this still a game where they can get within striking distance if they can find a score.
That's a big if, the way South Florida plays on defense. And you love the way Indiana's defense played in the first half, with the exception of the long run they gave up to Wright late in the half. And again, if you're out there continuously, if you're Indiana, it's tough to stop Wright and company on offense time and time again. So really, that's really not to fault Indiana, but it was hard for them, I'm sure, on the sideline to watch Wright run down the field to enjoy.
So out comes Kaiser, trying to incorporate all of his weapons. The man in motion, Wright, is the guy they need to get going. But Kaiser is crushed. And they might have got the face mask. Indeed, they did coming through, so you cannot end the half on a penalty.
Yeah, James Cook, as he was running by, reached out and got him by the bars. So it is a penalty, and it was obvious.
Yes. Where do you want camera 3?
Well, David Angleton will give us an untimed down here to conclude the first 20 minutes.
Cook has been in the kitchen of quarterback Jack Kaiser the whole half.
Well, with Wright and Cook, there's not much separating them. They wear the same helmets of their youth teams. Just Gardens and Lakes. Miami Gardens, Miami Lakes. That's the only difference because they play the same tenacious defense. They run the ball with aplomb. And they've got 1 foot into the Alamo Dome after 20 minutes here in San Antonio in the semifinal.
And they both play with a motor. Coaches love kids who play with a motor. They don't take downs off.
13-0 is the score. The guy that got it started is their quarterback, Nick Scalzo, and he's standing by with Tyler Olson.
Thanks, guys. Down here on the field with South Florida quarterback Nick Scalzo. And, Nick, you're known for your strong arm and your high football IQ. I've seen you on the sidelines throughout the game talking to the coaches. Talk about what you've seen from Indiana's defense so far.
Well, you know, Indiana's defense, their defensive linemen are very big, and our linemen are pretty small. So they're blitzing on the outside, so we have to get some more blockers in the backfield to pick up the outside the outside defensive ends and blitzing linebackers.
Absolutely. 13-0 lead. What do you guys have to do to make sure that you come out of here with a victory?
We have to spread the field out more, get the middle of the field open, run the ball at the middle, and then when that happens, the outside will open up so we can hit the bubbles and the outside deep posts and flies.
Quarterback Nick Scalzo, they're 1/2 away from advancing to the Alamo Dome. Nick, thanks so much. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see it.
Once you see what FBU video training can do for your game, you won't want to stop. Football University Video Training. Turn it on.
My journey to the pros was kind of different than a lot of people's, and I knew the challenges were against me, but I've always liked being the underdog in life. Hi, I'm Dane Fletcher, linebacker for the New England Patriots. For more on me, check out eastbay.com/Dane Fletcher.
Cecil Martin here again from NCSA Athletic Recruiting. It is crucial that you are proactive in the recruiting process at a young age. Make sure you don't sit back and let this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity pass you by. Visit our website to educate yourself on the vital steps that you need to take to make your dream become a reality.
I've been playing chess since I was 9 years old. It helps me anticipate my opponent's next move. Chess prepares my mind for battle. Because victory requires my strength, my speed, and my intelligence. My name is Ray Rice, and I'm an enlightened warrior.
Introducing the Youth Football Coaches Association, the premier online resource dedicated to improving coaching effectiveness and promoting youth safety for all volunteers. Register free at yfbca.org and begin receiving free youth coaching information, monthly newsletters, certification, and background checks. The most up-to-date concussion information, drills for all positions and skill levels. Learn all types of offensive and defensive plays. Join us at yfbca.org, where we are making good coaches great teachers.
Restroom.
On? On my third? I do not know. You mean to go talk? Ask him? No, Mr. Butler already went to go talk about it. Okay. Everybody's going to be needed. I took a nap. Anybody want a coffee? I tried it for the first time, and it was the worst thing in history. Coffee is the worst thing in history. Even if they could, I wouldn't care at this point. Behind what is it called? They're still going to be shot. Oh, besides that's about. They're tied for worst. Who else?
Do you want a hot hand? Do you guys want to share a hot hand?
Yeah, I'm good.
My hands are warm. You just put them in your glove.
I have 2 or 3 pairs of gloves on. But, oh no, I have 3 pairs because I have
Why do you have both?
unit gloves. Brandon gave them to you? I think he was looking for that one. Yeah. Yeah, I got these rubber gloves on because they're like my hands sweat. They don't get dried out. But it also kind of looks like I'm afraid of germs and therapist.
Next time, if we ever do this, if we ever do this,
All these things.
if we ever do this again, I'm gonna take all over the box. Yeah.
Just do some jogging.
Yeah, I'll just jog.
Those are my favorite stretch. Who? The lady who's taking photographs.
I mean, she's getting paid.
No, she's not big. We're gonna know that. She's probably gonna pay Oh, you're good.
That guy's so weird too. Look at him.
We need a way to talk back. We really need a way to talk back on because they just don't understand that. You can't push this talk, but if you do,
Okay, we're going to do it into halftime. Yeah, so here's the plan. We're going to do it into halftime. We'll get you out there. They're going to cue me, and then you're going to introduce yourself and just say, hey, I'm a part of the FBU crew.
You make it sound so terrible. Huh? You make it sound so terrible. It is.
What we're going to do is we're going to utilize them during the halftime. Where
Yeah.
Did you put any
There's energy drinks and soda too.
There's sugar.
There's soda and like
There's
monsters
sugar
out there
free.
too. Oh. Well, you just
And there's Red Bull and Monster. Awesome. You don't want that?
I don't believe in energy drinks.
You want me to go get some sugar and cream?
I swear to God, I'm hallucinating.
Should I go get some sugar and cream? Should I go take these over there? No one wants this. I'm gonna take it.
Take the whole bag. It takes me a while.
You can go out there with them there. Hey, watch your spots behind you. See that sun? That light? So that, yeah. There you go.
Davis. That's a good football name.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Jack Bellamy here with the FBU's coverage of this game. I'm here with Robin Davis, father of Indiana football player Dalton Davis. Can you tell me, Robin, what your experience has been like working with the FBU over this last year?
It's been kind of crazy. Trying to raise money to get to events and trying to get every family down here and every player. It's been good. The experience has been very good. It's been positive for the kids. The experience for the kids, playing against people that are equal or better than them when they're not used to that. That's been the biggest advantage to this whole thing.
Thank you. I'm sure a lot of folks at home are wondering, what does it take to be selected for the FBU? Is it a selection process? Do you have to be invited? What are the criteria that you have to meet?
The way it went with us is we were invited to a tryout camp in Indiana, and we went, and we actually went to 2 camps, and we got a phone call, and they invited us to be on the team, and here we are.
And is this your first time visiting San Antonio? Do you have any thoughts about this trip?
I actually was in San Antonio in 1990 in Air Force in basic training.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis. You should be very proud of your son. We're going to get right back to our coverage. Thank you.
Second half is underway at Wheatley Stadium. We're east of downtown San Antonio. Neil Sika, Randy Rosenblum, our second 7th grade national semifinal. South Florida will start with the football. They lead it 13-0. A big run for Naquan Wright at the tail end of the half. Scalzo hitting James Cook on their opening drive. And then the defense is playing a factor both ways, Randy.
Yeah, and Scalzo's been very accurate. 7 out of 11 works in Las Vegas, and it works in Texas as well for roll of the dice, and Scalzo, the offense, got some big plays. You talked about Naquan Wright, that one long run of 64 for the score tilts his stats, but that big play really opened it up for South Florida.
Wright is the motion man. It's tossed aside, and look at the cutback by Cook. My goodness, James Cook almost broke it big. Turned a 5-yard loss into a 9-yard gain. 2nd and short as he crosses midfield.
Well, we saw him do it on defense throughout the first half, and to start this second half, this is some play. You talk about an individual effort. He's hemmed in, looks like he has no chance, and he just starts making people miss.
And by the way, that's their best defensive lineman in Dalton Davis, so doing it against pretty good company. At the opening play of the 3rd quarter. Wright in motion. High snap, Scalzo controls. This is Wright, who does pick up the first down as he goes to the 43, and it's brought down there by Harrison Oakes, a 5'1" corner out of Indianapolis.
South Florida's coming out with venom in the second half, sensing that they can get the knockout blow early here in the 3rd quarter.
Cook in the slot, Scalzo with the empty. They bring the full house. That's deflected and should have been intercepted. Larry Tracy had it slip through the fingertips and fall to the ground. After Scalzo was all alone and that ball was pokered in the air.
Yeah, it was a screen for Naquan Wright, but they just couldn't get him the football. And you're right, had it been picked off, it could have been a very positive play, because it would have been Tracy, who's a guy who can really move it down the other way, down the field. Terrific in the open field in his own right.
Here's the give. Wright trying to spin out of the strong arm tackle of Austin Laster. Indiana claiming the ball was out, but they ruled him down. So 3rd and 9 upcoming for South Florida, their opening possession of the second half.
And again, even though Wright was hit by Laster near the line of scrimmage, he falls forward for positive yardage.
They'll bring Floyd in. Switch him across. Send Benestad to the near side at the bottom of your screen. Play action. But it's not fooling Dalton Davis.
Little does. Dalton Davis is a beast on defense.
Lost the battle on the Cook play, but redeems himself right there and brings down Scalzo for a loss of 15.
This is just a one-man play. I mean, everyone else is blocked perfectly. They all are blocked, but they can't stop Dalton Davis, and Scalzo had no chance.
So it's 4th and 20. And South Florida in punt formation. And someone moved. And we'll check the marker from the referee, David. Illegal shift. Or was it a late substitution?
Yeah,
Either
it was
way,
a legal substitution.
They'll move it back.
And again, you're going to get those calls because of the limited practices, so you're going to have some mix-ups when you exchange players.
They bring the pressure. And running out of it is Floyd. All the way back to the 40. They'll turn it over on downs, but will they just yet? There is a marker down.
That's one of the problems when you bring pressure against speed. It can run right by you, and that's what Floyd was able to do. He ran right by the pressure, and fortunately for Indiana, there was so many yards needed by South Florida and Floyd. He picked up about 20 yards, but they needed a lot more than that. But we must check the flag.
It's a block in the back.
Well, they're going to refuse it. They get the ball. That's why they're going to let them take that big chunk. But give credit again to the Indians. You know, the last time they were out there in the first half, they gave up the long 64-yard touchdown to Naquan Wright. We had a situation where South Florida got the ball, came out, got some first downs. Looks like they can put the game away. But then Indiana stiffened, and they get it back for their offense. That's great work by the defenders from the Indiana side.
Well, what the Floyd run did was turn the field just a bit. It's still pretty good field position for Indiana at the 41. As the red and white come out in shotgun. Probably not what they envisioned doing a whole lot of if they could get their ground game going, which is still looking for its groove. That's Tracy. He's got a couple to the 43, but the long hair of Gino Sandora brings him down out of Davie, Florida.
Long hair is long on talent. He's a good play. He's a run stuffer up there, and he bottled up the play.
3 minutes and change gone by here in the third. Every time this game is teetered on the edge of South Florida breaking it open, Indiana's defense has answered the bell. This is right. Put him in the backfield to give him the football, but he's going to lose a yard. Everywhere he has gone, South Florida has followed. 3rd and long upcoming.
Gino Sandora again stifling the play. This has just been the part of the puzzle they've been unable to solve, converting 3rd downs. And again, you look down there, and Indiana's looking at 3rd and long, 3rd and 9. It's not where they want to play. They want to play on 3rd and short.
They're 0 of 6. Kaiser. He's wrestled to the ground by Wright as he made the first man miss. Now a flag comes from the secondary outside of Wright's tackle. But they say it's a face mask, so a big penalty. And the second time that a personal foul has led to an Indiana first down.
Well, they'll take the break. I mean, Indiana's still within contact. It's not like they've been blown out here. So they can get one in the end zone. They can stick one in here. They can make this thing interesting, especially the way their defense is playing. That defense has kept them in the game.
With 4 receivers and the shotgun for Kaiser. Nearly missed that exchange there, but he got it away to Jenick in the end. Jenick's had a couple of solid runs, but they almost missed the handoff connection.
Yeah, they did, and they're fortunate. But again, you see the power from tackle to tackle from Jenick, twisting and turning, and it's tough to bring him down, and it took a while before he's finally tossed to the turf.
Carter, you had to use everything he had to make the stop. 2nd and 11. Inside of 5 minutes in the third.
Yeah, this is a game that's moving quickly. There may not be all that many possessions because they both run it effectively and kill the clock. Indiana has to make something happen.
13-0 South Florida. The pass out wide to the flat, and the ball comes loose. They'll mark down Larry Tracy, though, after what was essentially a gain of 2. And a gang tackle out on the flat.
Again, this South Florida defense is just imposing. It's just tough to get yardage. There, Indiana's offense executed. Kaiser with the throw. He got it to the guy he wanted in space, Larry Tracy. And like you said, they're over there in mass to bring him down for a very short game.
Jenick in the backfield with Kaiser, who on 3rd and 9 is going deep and is nearly picked off in coverage for the second time trying to go that way. This was Adderley breaking it up.
Well, one of the great defensive backs of all time was Herb Adderley. I think he wore the same number, didn't he? 26, if I recall. Playing for the Green Bay Packers. Well, this is Rodney Adderley, doing the best impersonation of the Green Bay Packer Hall of Fame performer.
I think he would take that career if he could achieve it one day. 4th and 9. And in South Florida territory, they'll play for it. Kaiser, just nothing available up front. He squeaks for about 3, but that's where it ends, right there. Otnott, Solomon, all combined on the tackle and a turnover on downs.
You feel bad for Jack Kaiser because he's trying his hardest and doing his best, and to no fault of his own, he just doesn't have any time to negotiate a play. I mean, he's under duress immediately on every snap.
So Scalzo, we'll see if South Florida can break this open. Indiana D's kept him around, but they go to right. He's the wheelhouse and is wheeling his way for another score. Naquan Wright, number 2, 20-0 SFL.
One right leaped over another right. How about that hurdle as Naquan hurdled Donovan Wright? Well, this was the right choice. What a move. You're going to see 23, Donovan Wright, come up. Try to tackle the other right, and there's the hurdle, and he's gone.
Well, earlier at the end of the first half, he went for 64. This is 63, and it's 19-0.
Well, you get big plays, you get wins.
That was partially deflected, but finds its way through. So a little early, but now it is 20-0 South Florida with 3:18 remaining in the third.
Well, again, South Florida, we do have a timeout for the moment with an injured timeout occurring. South Florida is just good. There's really nothing you can say negatively about Indiana. This is just an imposing, attractive South Florida team.
It's a South Florida player who's down, and when we come back from this injury timeout, well, it is the kicker. And he's better sooner rather than later, so good sign for Billy McConnell, and that's a big weapon. Wasn't down for long, but they did bring some pressure on that partially deflected PAT, but it stands at 20-0.
Well, if they match up against Iowa, that'll be a very entertaining game. Iowa was impressive against Seattle in our other 7th grade semifinal. Going in off of what we have seen here today, I think South Florida's the team to beat. They're so fast, but Iowa will be a good challenge. Iowa will bring a great crowd. Could be a real track meet.
I think one of the things you look at Iowa, even if they can't run, they've got a composed quarterback. Not to take anything away from a guy like Jack Kaiser, but the receiver threats, the weapons are there, and they can pass to set up their run and vice versa.
Yeah, but they can protect. That's going to be the question. I know they can throw the football. It's one thing throwing it against other teams. You're not throwing it against South Florida, and that speed rush coming from all sides, from Cook and from and Wright. It's just at you at a furious rate, and then throws the timing off.
That's what's made these games so fun. 7th grade FBU National Championship. Its 2nd year. The 8th graders still on deck. The national semifinals. Seattle and St. Louis. And then that mouth-watering matchup that many across the land have been talking about. Georgia, affiliated with the GFL, and Maryland. In the backfield, down goes Tracy. It's Cook. It's either Cook, it's Wright, it's Carter. An assortment of names that you better know come Sunday.
It's contagious. They're all doing it. And it's contagious in a very flavorful manner, in a very positive way for South Florida. They're just scintillating defensively.
The score stands at 20-0. A reminder that that running clock hits at 23 points. So Indiana still in that zone, but even trying to work their powerful wishbone offense, which they've had to get out of because of playing from behind, has not helped their cause, and there's a delay of game.
I'm just looking at those 4 previous scores for South Florida. 41-6, 46-0, 42-0, 35-6. The common denominator, blowouts. And here they are in a very comfortable situation again. Boy, it's just been a very powerful unit representing South Florida.
Tracy, who shifted to the backfield, they give it to him. Kaiser handing off, he'll get back to the 19. Still 3rd and very long. 3rd and 18 with 2 minutes remaining in the quarter.
Need to get some runs sprinkled in there from Indiana. And either you're down 20 at this point, but just to try to take some of that pressure off of Jack Kaiser. You know, if they can just tee off and know that he's going to throw the football, they'll come after him at an even greater and more alarming rate.
Here's Wright, play action from Kaiser, and his throw is shy of the target blades. Again, there's almost no time to set your feet, Randy, step in and throw, as it's rush, rush, rush.
Yeah, we're starting to sound repetitive because it's the same issue over and over again. And again, I think Jack Kaiser doesn't have a chance. And if you don't have a running game and they don't block for you, you're just a sitting duck. Got Dalton Davis up there, who always seems to get the job done, but seems like the rest of them may be a little bit overmatched.
90 seconds remaining in the 3rd. Take Heron out of the tight end spot, put him at the slot, and then go for him on a quick hit that just got the hand up, and the deflection nearly ended up as a pick.
Another chuck and duck for Kaiser with 4 in his face that time.
So that on 4th down turns it over. And South Florida has this game by the throat and looking to put Indiana into that daunting zone of the running clock with their next score.
And when this team gets you by the neck, and when they get the running clock going, they don't normally let you come back inside the running clock and the games end quickly. They just don't give you anything defensively.
And Cook here on the wing. Out of the pistol look for the first time with Scalzo on the jet sweep. Benestad slip 1. But Larry Tracy goes low to get the stop.
Yeah, Larry
Tracy.
Tracy
Help there from Connor Walker.
Yeah, he wasn't fooled by the misdirection play at all. He stayed at home and made the play. Here's where when you're going for it in that situation, you're giving up. You're giving the ball up in the red zone, and this is putting so much pressure on an Indiana defense that has played its mightiest today, but has given up those last 2 long runs to Wright.
Final minute, as we're at 50 seconds here in the 3rd, and this ball on the ground. Could be South Florida's 2nd turnover. And Janik has recovered. So despite this 20-point lead, South Florida has 2 giveaways, and Janik, who's had a nice game, wraps up the football, and Indiana's got it back.
Well, Janik's quick off the ball defensively. We know that he's a very good fullback, but defensively as a linebacker, he's quick off the ball, and his quickness got him to the pigskin before everyone else, and they avert not having to worry about the running clock, and they get the ball back, but they still have the dilemma solving that defense.
Low snap to Kaiser, Wright's all over him. Ball on the ground. And they're going to rule it a pass, incompletion.
Sure looked like a fumble. That's when you like to take another look at it, and if that was in the NFL, it would be reviewed. If it was in college, it'd be reviewed.
I had made that claim earlier in the first half.
I'm not saying it's the wrong call. I'm just saying it would be reviewed. I'm not saying it's the right call either, but it certainly would be reviewed.
Are you leading to something maybe down the road in the FBU National Championship?
Yeah, with TV, with all our guys doing such a great job and our replay capability, why not? We'd like to have the guys come up into the booth and check out a play or two.
38 seconds remaining as the ebb and flow of the final 2 minutes of this quarter has become very choppy. Here's a look.
Well, it's after the fact. You know, you can't tell when we picked it up if it was a fumble or a pass, but I'll tell you this, Cook thought he had a touchdown.
And where there's a Cook, it's usually a right as well, and he was draped all over Kaiser. They come again, and the throw well behind Blades. There's just no rhythm to the Indiana offense, and with good reason.
Well, there's no rhythm to their passing game, and they're built on running the football, and they've been forced out of the run because of the deficit, and this is just not their game.
So it's 3rd down and 10.
I will say this, the red and white seems to be a very popular color. Every game we've done at youth football, one of the teams happens to have the red and white. It is a popular coordinating color for these youth squads.
I know it's helping your eyes today as that throw offline.
I think
onto Heron.
I think all the teams, you know, gone to a lot of games over a lot of years where sometimes it's impossible to read uniform numbers. It's tough on the fans, but you know, all the uniforms that we've seen here today in this wonderful FBU National Championship Series are very well done, and you can see the clarity of the numbers on both sides, and it makes it great for the fans.
Well, there's a reason for that, as East Bay doing a fine job of being the official jersey provider of the National Championship. It's 4th and 10. Still 30 seconds remaining in the 3rd. Kaiser is sacked. So in a matter of 90 seconds from around the same spot on the field, Indiana's turned it over on downs with a South Florida fumble in between.
And very quietly, Anthony Solomon has had a nice game for South Florida. He got to the quarterback there to give them the football. Let's see if they can get to that running clock situation, if they can take it in. Again, starting in the red zone against the red team.
Well, speaking of red, our next matchup will feature another one. 8th grade Seattle. They exercised the demons and got revenge on Orange County in the regional final in Sacramento. They'll meet the Plains champ St. Louis back again for the 2nd year in a row. Scalzo to right. Just a little too high, even though Wright jumped.
That's the first time today where Scalzo made a bad throw. Wright was wide open, and he just missed him. That's one that Nick would love to have back. I think Nick went over there and apologized.
Such an affable kid. You heard him with our Tyler Olson. He's got full command of this offense. It shows in the moxie. Benestad on the fling out. Handling Blades as he's to the 10. And so the final 90 seconds of this quarter, which has felt more like 90 minutes at times, will come to an end.
Yeah, but it is fun to watch Christopher Benestad, such a great route runner. Knows exactly where to go, precise patterns, and the ball got over there in a hurry.
20-0 is the score. South Florida over Indiana. 7th grade national semifinals, the FBU National Championship.
Football University, the nation's leading football training experience, is now accepting nominations for its nationwide camps. We teach cutting-edge techniques, drills, and mental aspects of the game to increase your football IQ and make you a better player. Our instructors are current and former NFL coaches, the same coaches that train today's NFL stars. FBU is by invitation only, so score an invite today at footballuniversity.org.
20-0. South Florida leading Indiana. He'll seek a Randy Rosenblum. This is the 7th grade national semifinal. Winner to play Iowa Sunday evening on ESPN3. Carter, the carry here on the opening play of the 4th quarter. And he careens to the 1-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal. Total defensive domination by South Florida. Indiana's defense has been pretty good, but South Florida's has been phenomenal.
Well, their football team has been phenomenal. And they score here, and they're about to get in the end zone, and they do.
That's Carter.
Yeah, they're in a position now to have the running clock, and they've done this to everyone in the tournament. Just great power of football. Smash mouth, old school variety. Guys up front chip just enough to allow Carter to push forward to get in the end zone.
5'8" running back out of Plantation, Florida. That seasoned program through the high school level. A lot of U.S. Army All-Americans have come through there. A lot of great football players in general. It's good to see McConnell back out there. He was shaken up on the last extra point. Bangs it through.
Well, when you talk about great football, certainly here in Texas, these youth stadiums that we come to, they're pretty nice. They almost are major league stadiums in other cities. I mean, they know their football in Texas, and Florida and California are pretty good as well. Pennsylvania has great programs as well. But and it's nice to see some of the other parts of the country stepping it up at this level. We get a lot of teams from Maryland in this tournament. We see Seattle coming to the forefront. It's great to see some other areas other than California, Florida, and Texas dominate.
27-0, South Florida. And that hope for many in the Midwest, buried by snow over the last couple of days, for that Iowa-Indiana final is going to be a little bit shy.
Yeah, but Iowa's there, and they were good in their latest outing. And they're a very good football team that got punched in the mouth against Seattle to start the game and just reacted to it and said, no worries that we got hit for a couple early touchdowns, and then they went on to win easily. So Iowa's a good football team. That will be a severe test for South Florida, but they look like a football team that's up to the challenge.
An Indiana personal foul has put this at the Indiana 45 on the kickoff. Blades dropped that ball and then fell right back on it.
Another late flag, late hit, not needed. That'll cost South Florida 15 yards.
Especially in this concussion-prone era, you're always so concerned about safety, so any even seemingly aim at the head is going to draw the yellow, as it should. So at 15, essentially restored on this offensive possession here for Indiana.
You know, sometimes, not here, I've seen a lot of youth football games. I always feel like the officials are calling too many penalties and they don't give these kids the benefit of the doubt because they don't practice all that long together, just not warning them. But there's a call you have to make. I mean, you got slammed late in the play, and there's just no need for that. And you got to learn from that if you make that mistake. If you're the guy doing that, and I didn't quite catch the number who made that hit, you cannot afford to do that. Now, it's not going to cost South Florida the game, but you just don't want to do that because against a team like Iowa in the next round of the championship, it could.
Well, the give is to Wright. And unfortunately, Donovan Wright of Indiana hasn't had the day Naquan has for South Florida.
Well, South Florida's swarming defense has dominated the line, and unfortunately for Indiana, that offensive line has just not been able to kick them out of there. Defensively, they've been able to go toe-to-toe, but not offensively.
We're about an hour away Central Time for the kickoff of the first 8th grade national semifinal. As we have a running clock here in the 4th quarter, South Florida leading Indiana 27-0. It was tight at the half, just a 13-zip lead. First downs, positive yardage, just coming up in crumbs for Indiana on this day, even though they've had the ball longer than South Florida.
Well, they can't implement the passing game. Kaiser's only 2 for 19 in the air. He's been intercepted 3 times. And those are the kind of stat lines you usually see against this South Florida defense.
On 3rd and long, Kaiser's going to run and be taken down at the 35. 4th and 7 upcoming.
And you saw the speed of Daniel Carter come up and get him.
Going to have another flag on the play. It's a hold. I've got a funny feeling, though, we'll hear from Indiana again. Their 6th graders made it to the regionals. Their 8th graders lost to Maryland out in Mansfield. See the flag coming in there on the Carter tackle of Kaiser.
This might be the last time Indiana snaps the ball offensively if they don't succeed here with this running clock.
So now with that hold, South Florida took the penalty, 3rd and 22. And down goes Kaiser. He's been cooked. Another outstanding play by the running back slash fantastic linebacker.
Well, I've run out of superlatives for Cook. I mean, I mentioned early on he was unblockable, and they never really got a handle on him, and then Wright came to the forefront offensively and defensively. And for Indiana, again, I'll go back to my last statement. They got the extra down because of the penalty. This could be their final snap on offense this season with that running clock.
That snap is off. A new quarterback in there from Cole Kibler. He's got a really good arm. An FBU camper out of Dayton, Ohio. But the snap off, the ball turned over on downs, and South Florida ready to put a bow on it.
5 starts, 5 routes, on their way to 3 shutouts. That's productivity.
It's a nice little rhyme you had there.
Well, thank you. It's been fun to watch them play. It hasn't always been fun for Indiana, and you can see why Indiana got here. Their defense is good. They have a good defensive football team that got worn out a little bit here in the second half, having to go out there time and time again. But they're good. Indiana's got a good squad, but South Florida's, off of what we've seen here, just a great football unit. And you know, Iowa's going to have to come in here and play a perfect football game on Sunday at the Alamo Dome to upset them.
So, after the timeout, South Florida resumes with the football. And they will meet Iowa. Mike Thomas and Troy Hughes, the head coaches respectively, in that game on Sunday in the Dome, 3:30 Central Time, coming to you on ESPN3. Scalzo swings and off the hands of Cook.
Doesn't matter if you have the incompletion because the clock continues to roll. If you're asking why they throw the football, they're still trying to score. So if you run it or pass it, the clock is still gone. So, you know, you're not really trying to run it up because the clock's going to move forward either way.
South Florida will try to become the first team from the Sunshine State since the inaugural year, 2011. Those were the 8th graders of Central Florida winning the title. South Florida is the first team to get back to the championship in any grade level since then. That ball is on the ground. Would be South Florida's 3rd turnover, and it is Indiana football.
Hey, the Indiana team is going to get some more snaps on offense because of Cook's turnover. But again, the clock's moving.
And that's one thing, Randy, to maybe take away. South Florida can't look past taking care of the ball against an Iowa team that might try to take advantage or have a completely different situation come Sunday.
Well, it's one thing that Troy Hughes can harp upon to his team. He might say, hey, we're winning football games. We've been really good to this point in terms of margin, but we can't afford in a championship game against an Iowa team that is very, very smart, aggressive, and well-schooled. They're the kind of team that will take advantage of those mistakes. So that is the one area that they need to clean up.
Iowa causing 2 turnovers in their win. And there's Donovan Wright finally into space and a first down.
Defense a little bit more relaxed and a much better throw that time with time to release the football. And you can see what Donovan Wright can do when he has space available.
Great to finally see him make a play. I know it's been a rough day for that Indiana offense. You can fully expect to see this team compete next year at the 8th grade level. The throw on the rollout is caught. Nice catch. That's Gardner. Mainly their motion man on the Northville, Michigan. Young man is got a reception.
And you mentioned the strong arm of Cole Kibler rolling out. You know, he had to use that arm strength to get the football to his wide receiver.
Kibler been in here at the last two series. Bobbled that snap, fumbled the football. Cook almost scooped and scored. Carter will.
All you can say is wow. And really that's what you expect. And that's how you should finish if you're South Florida, because their defense just dominates football games. Cook started it, Carter finished it.
So there's the punctuation on this one. Won't even need to take the point after, although they might as well send McConnell out there for posterity's sake. They can then smile and rejoice. South Florida 33, Indiana nothing the final. Defense carries the day. So does Cook, Wright, and company in this shutout of the East Regional champs. It will be South Florida taking on Iowa in the 7th grade FBU National Championship on Sunday, as that game will come your way at 3:30 on ESPN. And as we said from quarter 1 to now in our final comments, Randy, defense again, and some special players from South Florida.
Well, again, they have great athletes, and their offense isn't bad. It might be a little under the radar because of the defense, but South Florida is a special football team. But they have to watch out with those mistakes. And you mentioned it, those 3 turnovers. Iowa will be a better test, but I still think South Florida is the team to beat come Sunday at the Alamo Dome.
In a little moment, we'll check in with Tyler Olson as he is down on the field with head coach Troy Hughes of South Florida.
Thanks, guys. Down here on the field with Coach Hughes. A huge win for you. Obviously, you're headed to the Dome. The athleticism was on full display here today. What was the game plan? How was the execution?
Well, we came out. Our passing game's been working well for us. We thought we might have a little bit of advantage with their speed, but their size. You have to respect that size. So they started playing back on us. We figured our best thing to do is get back to the running game, which has helped us out a lot too, and make them work for it.
Absolutely, and Indiana's game plan coming in certainly was to slow down the game, but your athleticism obviously was able to overtake it. Was your plan going in to kind of try to speed up the game and speed up Indiana's pace?
Oh, absolutely. That was our biggest thing, is trying to keep them off balance and try to wear them down as quick as we can, because that size coming in our O-line, we were definitely at a disadvantage at that point. So, yes, we definitely wanted to speed it up and try to wear them down as quick as we could.
South Florida 7th grade 33-0 winners here. They're headed to the Dome. 2 more 8th grade games coming up to round out the day. We'll be back after this.